Looking at these buildings, you might think this is Europe, but no, this is China. Welcome to Huawei's Oxhorn Campus in Dongguan, a place where Gothic cathedrals, Parisian bridges, and Italian villas sit side by side, all built by one of the most controversial tech companies in the world. And while this campus is restricted to the public, today I'm biking through every single corner of it. My next location is at the Songshan Lake. Hopefully this next hotel, it's a Ramada, so it should be nicer than this one that I just stayed in. After my one-night stay in a not-so-nice hotel, I've moved to the Huawei campus where I'll be staying in Songshan Lake's Ramada Hotel, which boasts affordable rates with amazing views of the Huawei campus in the distance. Yeah, this is like 100 times better than the previous hotel. What's funny is that this hotel and that previous hotel I stayed in are exactly the same. This one actually might even be a little bit cheaper, I'll have to check, but they were like pretty close to the same price. It is insane how hot it is today. I thought yesterday was bad, but today is like 100 degrees. Before I head to the lake, I'm gonna go try and find some type of jacket or sleeves that I can use to cover up my arms with, because just being out in the sun is burning my arms right now. I always like to take these bikes in China because they're pretty easy and cheap to rent. Oh my goodness, that seat is so hot. Anyway, I'm gonna bike for about 10-20 minutes. There should be a mall somewhere down the road. This is not the best area to be in. There's literally nothing around but like industrial buildings. It's a nice hotel, but the area is really bad. All right, I found some center with like a bunch of random clothes. Looks like a lot of like just local Chinese brands. Europe, wake up. I think what I need to find though is something more with like branded clothes or like a sports store. Because I feel like these, they don't really have what I'm looking for. Ah, here we go. Okay, these are some brands. There's a Erky, HLA, another Erky. All right, well, this is obviously not ideal for 100-degree weather. You know, this is kind of a funny street. They have one Erky over there. They had the Erky that I just shopped at, and then they have an Erky across the street. That's three. No, and then there's another Erky right there. There's 4 Erkys. Erky's kind of like a Nike type brand, but for China specifically. Anyway, now that I am protected from the sun, let's go check out the Songshan Lake. From where I was, it's about another 20-minute or so bike ride. Once you get close to the lake, the residential areas get really nice, very, very modern. It seems like a very peaceful place to live. They even have like really big houses. These must be so expensive. As I began cycling around the lake, I came across this very fascinating area called the Yulan Cultural and Arts District. Nestled along 570 meters of lakeshore, the 77,000 meter square district was conceived as a cultural hub, one that's less about galleries tucked away and more about letting art, events, and architecture breathe with the environment. Dongguan's vice mayor described it as a fresh blueprint, urban renewal not just about infrastructure, but about creating a relaxed, art-infused space that doubles as a civic heartbeat, where exhibitions, leisure, and cultural exchanges just live. One of the highlights of this area was the bookstore known as Zhongshuge. This place snagged the 2025 Muse Design Award for Best Interior Design. I've always been impressed with Chinese bookstores, but I have to say this one was truly over the top. Well guys, this was a really cool area, but I think it's about time I get going, move on and see the rest of the lake. I've only gone through one small part of it so far, and I still have a long way to go. Well, at this point, I've been biking for over an hour. I've almost made it. I think I'm gone past the halfway point of the lake. According to the map, I should be going the right way. There's supposedly a path that goes next to the lake that I think I should be able to bike on. What I'm trying to do right now is find the best vantage point for the Huawei campus, because I know that most people coming to Dongguan probably don't know anybody working at Huawei. And unfortunately, it's just not a very accessible place. Like anywhere along this lake, a lot of the residential areas are all private, so you can't get in there. So I've basically like gone down these long roads only to get turned away time and time again because it's like private areas. So from now on, I think I'm just gonna go with the assumption that there are no shortcuts, because I have once again biked up a hill trying to ride alongside the lake only to run into another dead end. At least this time, the vantage point is pretty good. Oh guys, I finally did it. I got into the shortcut. I talked to one of the police that was like guarding this place, and he let me carry my bike over the fence. So I'm finally next to the lake, and just ahead, he said, I'll be able to see the Huawei campus. After many hours of cycling, we have cycled all the way from Dongguan, China to Europe, sort of anyway, at least Huawei's replica European city. If someone from Huawei watches this video and is willing to give me a tour of the campus, let me know down in the comments, because I really want to explore the interior of the campus. It's really cool to see it from the outside, but I imagine it's a completely different experience on the inside. I'm trying to get down a bit closer to the lake so I can fly my drone and get a good view of the campus. Don't judge me for taking this non-mountain bike on mountain biking trails. The Huawei campus actually extends kind of like all around this lake. It's not just one section, and I think each area has somewhat of a different style to it, a different area in Europe maybe. So in front of me is another section. I don't know if I can get any closer to that, but I'm gonna put my drone up in a second so you can get a better view of it. While cycling around Songshan Lake, I kept doing double takes. I passed by countless European-style buildings, and yet I'm not in Europe. I'm in Dongguan, China. This is Huawei's Oxhorn Campus, 12 themed European towns arranged around the lake, each one meticulously modeled after a real city. Heidelberg, Verona, Paris. It's like someone took a European backpacking trip and then built it full scale in southern China. The campus covers more than 300 acres with 108 individual buildings. Not just offices, but research labs, libraries, cafes, and hotels, all stitched together with walking paths, plazas, and these perfectly framed postcard views. And then there's the train modeled after the Jungfrau Railway in Switzerland. It runs nearly 8 kilometers around the lake. It's not here to entertain tourists. This is how thousands of Huawei engineers get from one town to the next. You can hop on in Paris and end up in Budapest in just a few minutes. What makes this surreal isn't just the architecture, it's the contrast. On one hand, you have this almost whimsical fairy tale setting. On the other, this is the beating heart of one of the world's most controversial tech companies, banned in the US, scrutinized in Europe, yet pushing forward with R&D on AI, 5G, and chip design right here in these picture-perfect streets. Every corner feels like a movie set, but behind those ornate facades, real work is happening. The kind that shapes the devices in your pocket, the networks in your city, and maybe the geopolitics of the next decade. By the time I finish my ride around the lake, I'll technically have traveled to a dozen countries without ever leaving Dongguan, and I can't decide what's more impressive, the sheer ambition it took to build this, or the fact that it actually exists. Well, you know what's really funny is that I've cycled around this entire lake, and then I'm like right next to the main part of the campus right now, and there's a public entrance right here. So right where I started basically is where I could have gone in. I skipped over this part because I thought, oh, it's not open to public entrance over here, but it turns out that it is. I didn't know. But anyway, I do not regret my like 20-mile bike ride today. This was quite worth it in my opinion. My goodness. I'm a little sad to get rid of this bike. I've been ridden the heck out of it. I feel like it's mine now, but this is my last day in Dongguan. I'm moving on to a new location tomorrow. I've been riding this bike almost 8 hours. That's a full day of biking in 100-degree weather. Well, to wrap up this video, I'm gonna head to this big restaurant mall that I found yesterday. I came here for dinner last night, but I didn't record it because I was so exhausted I didn't want to bring out my camera. But I'm here again tonight, and it's a really cool place. This whole center here is just restaurants, so there's a lot of food choices to choose from. Every time I do some very strenuous physical activity, I always crave something kind of sour. I think I once hiked 20 miles in a single day, and after that I was like craving lemonade for some reason. This one, I walked by it and they had like this tomato salted egg noodle that looked really good. I don't know. So anyway, let's see how this tastes. It smells so tomatoey. Oh my goodness. I've never had a broth feel this good in my mouth before. It sounds kind of weird, but it's so good. And I might just be hungry, but this is like the best thing I've tasted all week. So I think I got these wheat noodles, so they're a little bit darker. Really nice. I've never seen this restaurant before. Tofu noodles, really good. And the next thing I got is just like this roasted chicken. Let's start with this chicken wing here, chicken leg or whatever it is. Got it dipped in the green sauce. Oh my goodness. I think this is fried actually. Either fried or roasted, whatever it is, this is really good. This is like perfectly juicy, perfectly cooked, so tender. Holy cow. I hope they have this chain in Shenzhen because this is amazing. Actually, I think I was wrong on these noodles because it's not salted egg. It's like a yellow tomato or yellow persimmon or something. Either way though, I still think it's quite good. And honestly, it just tastes like tomato soup to me, like Chinese tomato soup.